Get the behind-the-scenes information on the breweries and beers you love with What's on Tap's Brewery Sessions.
What's on Tap podcast, and this time we are in Ol Central. Yes. Woohoo! Exciting. And we've had a very close connection with Ol over the past few months. And very excited about today. Something we've had planned for quite a while. So we can't wait.
Well, I mean, we don't have to wait anymore.
We don't have to wait anymore. We are here.
We are here.
Yes.
And we have the person of interest right next to us.
Yes.
And it's happening right now.
It is. So yeah, Jens Reimer. Am I saying that right?
That's fairly close.
Close enough. All right. Okay.
It's close enough for your shitty American accent.
Yeah. My names are not. I'm not good with names. That's not. I usually let Matthias handle that part of it.
It's not really an international name. So.
Okay, so introduce yourself.
I'm actually just here to plug my own brand of toothpaste.
Excellent. And that's we actually people don't understand is we are venturing into toothpaste podcast.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And we find that the Ol brand is really exciting and different, and not just mint, but also like cinnamon and barbecue flavored
Coriander.
Never
coriander.
The cardamom though.
Yeah, cardamom.
Exactly.
So many flavors of toothpaste.
Yeah.
So what inspires you to do toothpaste?
I mean, just looking at the name itself, it's just like rim job toothpaste.
Yeah,
it really says it all. I mean,
it does.
Yeah.
I mean, we had the name Toil, and it perfectly blends into toothpaste.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the two first letters right there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
We're in the Toil situation room at our offices, where situations are created. And
yes.
There's blinding silence.
The global map and the video monitors are quite amazing. I did not expect such a situation room to really exist for a craft beer brand in Copenhagen. I mean, you guys are really global domination focused.
We are, and still we have a permanently markered penis on one of our whiteboards. So.
You guys are covering all the bases.
Exactly.
All the bases,
it's quite crazy.
Yeah. There's going to have to be a permanently markered vagina to
even things out. Before we leave, we will...
Let's not get into that, please.
We haven't even done 5 minutes yet.
Yes,
we're already at the penis and vagina.
The penis is okay, but the vagina is just sexual harassment. So we cannot have that.
Should we start with maybe tasting a beer? And,
sure,
we
should.
Something in our glass, something to talk about.
Definitely.
All
right.
I think we should start with the Mr. Blue.
Sounds good.
I was hoping you would say that.
Yes. From the newly released Mr. series. They're all rebrews, all new recipes. This one is with blueberries, blackcurrant, acai, and aronia berries. I actually think it's pronounced acai. I'm not entirely sure. I watched one YouTube video and they pronounced it acai and I didn't really care.
I watched one YouTube video once and this is what they kind of sounded like. So I thought it was called a Kasi, so you're doing better than me.
It's like that's the perfect response to any like tuition or anywhere. It's like if your teacher asks you about any question, you can answer, I watched one YouTube video and this is what they told me.
Yep.
Anyway, before you read anything about it, I want you to, when you taste it, try and guess the ABV of this beer because I think that's that's one of the more interesting thing about it.
So I do know that it's an Imperial Berliner Weiss.
That's correct.
I saw that. Oh wow, it's so berry.
And by the way, if you're a bar somewhere and you need an Imperial Berliner Weiss to fill out your blackboard, let me know.
This is the one.
Yeah,
this is the one.
This is really like it's got a huge jammy feel to it.
Yeah.
And I think it might actually be that the Imperial part of the Berliner Weiss is the one that supports that jammy feeling to it. Because I mean, generally with Imperial, you would get like a bit of a thicker beer.
Yes.
And I think this actually benefits a lot from that.
I think even with all the fruit, the viscosity of the beer is kept at a fair level. You don't get full from. You have to eat on the side as well.
Yeah, it's got a nice tartness to it. I really like. What would you guess?
Yeah.
the ABV on this is?
I mean, it's going to be a tiny bit of a biased guess at this point because now I know that it's an Imperial Berliner Weiss.
Yeah.
But that's fine. Even knowing that, I think.
I don't think that's going to...
Still going to be enough of a challenge.
Yeah. Because, I mean, Berliner Weiss comes in at
Like
3.4, yeah, 3.5. So
3.4 to like 3.8.
even if you double that, I mean, you're coming in at like 6-7%.
I know. And I mean, I kind of want to put it at 6 even.
I'm going to go closer to 8.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I mean, this is clocking in at 9.
Really?
Yeah, it's a full-on 9.
Holy shit.
This is go home juice.
This is
It is. At the
Stay
same
out
time you
juice.
drink it, you're kind of like, oh, I want to have a lot of this in me. I want to drink this for a while.
It's just setting up to that's what she said joke right
Yep.
there. Yeah.
It is. Because I mean, it's so rich.
I think
First of all, I have a hard time imagining it's a Berliner Weiss because it's so creamy and
Yeah.
rich that it doesn't feel like a Berliner Weiss. When I think of it.
This is a fairly experimental beer, and obviously the base is a Berliner Weiss with a lot of added fruit. So you can kind of see what happens when you stuff that much juice into a Berliner Weiss. I think the taste speaks for itself. I mean, it's
definitely because I mean the berry presence is just massive in this.
Yeah, I mean, you just get this overwhelming, what do you call it, blackberry and blackcurrant in it. And it just, wow. It's almost like a blackberry pie, kind of. Like ice cream, kind of, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
It's like you should do a version of this with the pie crust in it as well.
yeah. Well, it's kind of like the, what was the Danish dessert beer that you guys did? Yeah, that one.
Very good. Yeah. That's coming back around, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I love that beer.
I insisted on a rebrew of this beer.
Oh, I
awesome.
love that beer. And this kind of reminds me of that.
I can see that.
The creaminess and the richness and the berries and the slight sour finish to it. Yeah, it's.
I gotta say I prefer this one much more than the
The other one?
Than the other one. I'm only going to say it once. per podcast. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. We did the release of all these beers simultaneously on February 23rd in around 50 bars and bottle shops in Europe. We call it the global release, but since logistics is a thing, we didn't manage to ship it out of Europe in time for the release. But it was fun to follow the tap takeovers and stuff we did because Mr. Blue was the one that sold out first everywhere.
I can see that.
Because it's a good beer when people come up and they're like, I don't know what I want. And you give them this and they'll at least be fine.
This is what I want.
How many beers are in the Mr. series?
6 beers.
6 beers, okay.
Yes. The original was based around the Reservoir Dogs, but we kind of shied away from that because it's
there's not enough colors.
No, we never did Nice Guy Eddie either. All the other guys are there, obviously. And now I think it's become its own thing, and we want to do another series in the future. Maybe not a Mr. series, maybe a Mrs. series or something else.
That would be cool.
But it's fun to brew 6 different beers based only on the color, and you get to be really crazy because they're one-offs. I mean, these are not big commercial beers.
Yeah,
these are for fun tasting sessions and having you can compare them and you can we can play around with styles as much as we want.
Yeah,
so that's the idea of this.
Right, and that's what you guys do. You really do like series, right? Because you have a lot of Dangerously Close to Stupid, and you have the was 1,000 tons of, and
1,000 tons. It's 1 ton.
1 ton. I'm sorry. I'm working off a memory here. My memory is not the best.
We might do 1,000 tons.
1,000 tons, but 1 ton. 1 ton, 1,000 tons, potato. It's I don't understand the metric system. It's basically the same, just extra zeros. But yeah, you also have the sewer line, which is sour, and
Shark
you've
series
got
as well.
Yeah, Shock series and
Milk series is one as well.
Oh, I love those.
So we like doing series, yeah.
Yeah, so what inspires that vein of creativity there?
We basically on the onset, all of our beers are brewed to be one-offs. We like to push the boundaries and be experimental, and every once in a while, one of them will really take off somewhere or everywhere, and we'll expand that into a series so people can either compare or try a new variation of something they already like, and maybe discover something else about it that they hadn't noticed initially. And that's why series are fun. We did them with the Shock series and the Sewer series. We did them with the individual hops, different hops. With the Milk series, we just basically play around with the milk stouts as much as we want. We add cocoa beans and vanilla and coffee and so on and so forth. For the Mr. series, obviously, it's just a shotgun.
Yeah,
we can do whatever we want. But we're gonna do more serialized beers because they're easier to distribute, and they're a lot of fun to drink, and they still tie into what Tool is, which is experimental.
Yeah.
So what's been the biggest surprise of like something that came out that kind of took you by surprise in the series? Or
I must say that the Mr. series was a big surprise overall, because since we launched it in so many different countries, it was fun to see that some countries loved 3 of them, and those 3 were very disliked in another country. And there was no general consensus of which there was no clear winner or loser in the series. Everyone pretty much liked every single one of them in some form or fashion. So I guess what you learn from that is that even if you try, you can't really brew. You can't try it, and not that we do, but you can't. It's impossible to brew a beer that you think people will like. You have to brew something you like yourself.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah.
So that's what we try to do here.
So what was the winner in Asia? What was the one that everyone loved in Asia?
It's just now arriving in Asia, so I wouldn't know.
Okay. So
we don't know yet.
So what about Europe? Do you have to divide it by regions, or can you just say overall in Europe there is?
I was in Edinburgh for the release, and they loved Mr. Blue, and they loved Mr. Brown, and they really didn't like Mr. Pink.
All right.
Whereas in Ireland, they loved Mr. Pink, and they loved Mr. White, and Mr. Blue and Mr. Brown were lower on the scale.
Okay. And what about the U.S.?
They just now arrived in the US as well.
So
it takes up to 2.5 months to send them there.
Yeah.
But we do ship them directly from the brewery, so they get there as fast as we can.
Okay.
But it is logistics, and you can't really do much more than that.
No. Yeah.
Shall we dig into the Mr. Pink?
Sure.
Yes, we should.
And this is a IPA with beetroot.
Yes. Pink Bead IPA. We did one of these at Bruce. We did a collaboration with the Fontaflora Brewery.
Oh, the North Carolina.
Rock and Beats.
Yeah.
And that just looked like dry hop film blood. I had it at a few festivals, and when you spill some on the floor, people come and ask, like, "Are you okay?"
Who died?
This is blood, yeah.
This is
this one,
beautiful.
The color of this
pink.
Is
I mean, I don't know how to
amazing.
describe this. Like the head is almost like a bubblegum pink, but the color of the beer itself is just this reddish. I don't know, how would you describe it? Like,
But then the funny thing is, like, when you smell it, it smells like an IPA.
yeah, you don't get the beat.
No.
off of the nose.
no, it's heavily dry hopped, of course.
That is actually quite the mindfuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We put a video on this on Instagram that got a lot of bad feedback.
Oh, really? In what way?
We did some feminist thing, and it's you just shouldn't dabble in that unless you really know what you're doing.
Oh.
Even though you know what you're doing, I think it's difficult. So
Yeah, there's something about like
We wanna
you
do it
think
right
like
and-
doing something
Yeah.
like Brewdog just did their they repackaged the
Yeah, the Punk IPA.
Punk IPA.
And they did, I think they said a beer for girls on it instead. So it was
Right.
like the Pink IPA, and it was just called Beer for Girls.
right, and they had a lot of
They got a shit ton of bad feedback.
yeah,
on
it
that
wasn't the
one.
most positive feedback,
No.
and I think it's kind of like people are like, oh, we're gonna make something for women, and it's just like, well, when you do that, it doesn't mean you need to make it like weaker or make it pink or make it whatever. It's kind of
I think it's more of a general consensus of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be tailored to women because women can drink whatever anyone else drinks.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't matter if you're...
Condescending, that's what we're looking
Exactly, yeah. Condescending is probably the thing here.
It was the point of the whole thing was that it was sarcastic.
Yeah.
They just didn't manage to pull it. I mean, I don't want to comment on it.
we're not here to. Yeah. We don't want to do anything. But
no, definitely not.
It's hard to say this is for women without it coming off as a little condescending.
Yeah.
When it's not meant to be that, it's meant to be. Something else.
It's meant to be something that it's including, but it can often be kind of angled from, well, I guess other groups to be seen as condescending instead.
Yeah.
Even if your purpose is nice, then it anyone can always angle something to their own interest, I guess.
Usually people do it with their best intentions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's such a fucking minefield.
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to do an IPA called Social Justice Warrior Hops.
Yeah.
But I just, it's some people are going to find that extremely offensive.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't, you just don't do it.
No, and I mean, I think it's like the latest year, everyone is so easily offended as well.
Oh, I don't think it's been latest year. I think it's just, in general, people they want to be included, but yet if you do something that singles out, it becomes an easy target for people to misguide their anger because it gives them something else to focus on, whether or not that was the intention. And I think it's unfortunate because, there are so many great ways to elevate a concept or elevate a message.
Yeah.
Without it becoming overtly political. Maybe if this was done during National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, it would be a different story because then people are looking for that message and therefore it becomes more inclusive. But maybe outside of that environment, it becomes more hostile. You have
to really tread lightly in that area.
Yeah.
The secret is to be offended all the time.
Yeah, I think it's really the way to go. Just always be offensive.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's for me. It's also a question of how do you, as an individual, handle being offended. I mean, do you just like put your guard out instantly and attack the offender, or do you try and understand like their point of view as well, or are you just like instantly like, nope, they're wrong and this is not what I think, so therefore you are a fucking idiot and you should die?
Well, we can get into this conversation for many
I know.
It's a very, very long conversation. Well, let's get back to this Mr. Pink.
Right, let's dig into it.
I will say that I am not a huge fan of beet-based beers, but I don't get beet off of this at all. I mean, it is not earthy or...
You don't get earth off of this?
No, I surprisingly don't. I think it's super hoppy. But it doesn't have that earthy dirtness that I usually get from beet-flavored beers.
Right.
I love it, actually.
Cool.
It's really clean and light and, I don't know, refreshing. How do you feel in there?
It's a 6% IPA with beet, I think.
I think I have to agree with you as well. Like, I don't get the same kind of like dirt feel that I get from other like beet-based beers. Yeah,
normal. I'd say this.
If I would taste this blind, I would say it's just a normal IPA.
Yeah.
The tasting I did at Bottle Bar and everyone was just screaming earth.
Really?
When they tasted it, yeah.
Really?
So this is why it's curious.
Yeah, I don't get earthiness at all from this.
Obviously, we wanted to have added more beets, but you also have to make it pink.
Yeah. No, I love the pinkness. The pinkness is
I think it's
amazing.
The color is amazing.
Yeah.
The color is really like spot on.
Don't spill it; you will never wash it off.
Exactly.
Let's see.
But I mean, basically, if we would put this.
Look at that.
Yeah, I'm just kind of cleaning my glass, and even like cleaning it's just like day glow electric pink water.
No, but if we would put this next to a normal IPA and just taste them blinded, I don't think I could tell apart which one was the one with beets in it.
You might be right there, actually.
Yeah. Of course I'm right.
So Tuol is relatively young in the marketplace. I mean, you guys have only been around for
5 years.
5 years. I was going to say 7, but yeah, 5.
7.
And it feels longer, but 5. Yeah, I mean, you guys have not been around for that long, and yet you've managed to achieve in a relatively short period of time this global brand. I mean, how do you do that?
I mean, the first commercial beer was released in 2010, so it's 8 years. I think that we were out early, and they built the brand hard, of course. At the time we started, there weren't that many brands to play around with. We were still doing groundbreaking stuff like brewing an IPA. But I think the trick has been to keep up the quality of the beers. So your brand is not only the labels and the taste. It's also the fact that people can take any of your beers off the shelf and not get disappointed.
Yeah.
And it's something we work very hard on. Because you get maybe 1 or 2 chances to make a really bad beer before people leave you altogether. So we want to make experimental and fun and groundbreaking beers, but the most important thing is that they're balanced and drinkable. Everyone can make interesting beers. It's not difficult to make an interesting beer, but you have to be able to drink a full glass of it. Otherwise, what's the point? And that's I think that's the hardest part of this, is to keep up the quality, but still surprise people with new tastes and new experiments.
Yeah, I will say that's one of the things that I really enjoy about Tuol is that the beers are so extremely drinkable. I mean, it's like when we did the beer calendar and we had the Brewdog and the Tuol, there were a lot of Brewdog beers that were like, yeah, this is good, but I mean, we're splitting a beer amongst 4 people, and I'm still having a hard time finishing that beer. Whereas with Tuol, I'm like, I could drink much more of this. I'm kind of hating having to share it with you guys.
Yeah, but there were some of them you didn't like as well. But still, the point is that you have to be able to at least finish the beer.
And that was never an issue. I mean, it was always very easy to drink and very interesting.
Very nice. Can we pause this so I get the 2 other beers before they...
We'll do a little pause here, and then we'll come right back. Okay, so you mentioned the packaging earlier.
Yes.
So Casper Lidit does your packaging, and how did you... how did that happen? I mean, when did he start with Tuol, and how has he inspired you guys?
Well, I mean, he went to high school with Tor and Tobias, and he used to do, I think, electronic music, and he did the labels for the CDs, and he did the music as well. But he quickly found out that he was better at doing labels than music. So he did the labels for their CDs, and when they produced their first beer, they needed someone to do the label, and Casper did the label, and he's made 99.9% of all the labels ever since. He's the sole designer. He has pretty much free reign to do whatever he wants, and I think that he's struck quite a special note, a special way of doing labels, because there's no red line running through. Like, we don't have a character on the labels. They're not. It's not just typography or photography. It's pretty much everything. But I still think you can easily identify a Tuol beer. There's something about it that's unique.
Right, because like McKellar has a little character.
Well, the Henry and Sally characters,
But Tuol really kind of redefines packaging in a lot of ways, and the look and the feel, but yet it still feels very of your brand.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, even though just looking at the table we have in front of us, all the beers look completely different, but yet, on the shelf, on the walls behind you, there's a history of Tuol beers, but yet they all feel like I would know immediately that was a Tuol beer just by looking at the packaging.
I can honestly say I don't know how that works or how he does it, but
it's really freaking impressive though.
Yeah,
it does work,
because it doesn't feel like sometimes when you get into people that are doing labels and stuff, it becomes rather stagnant because they have one style or one brand, and you get locked into
a
they kind of fall into that. And I mean, each beer has its own unique look and feel and style, but yet still feels very on brand. I mean, that's I mean, it's kind of crazy in that way. Yeah.
That's I have a beast for you guys here.
No, beast is the 90% Tuol.
No, this is
Mr. Blue
this
is
is a fucking beast. So we have the rate beer, and we have the 3x rate.
Oh,
So
yeah.
3 times dry hop version of the rate beer. We just now are launching the session rate in Systembolaget, and this is the 5x rate. Which
So
means
what does the
it's-
5X give
it's-
us? Does it give us X-ray vision? We're going to be able to see in the future.
you can see, you can see through 5 layers of clothes. This is a 5 times dry hopped lager.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
Lager. All right.
Yeah.
Holy
The
crap.
description says
It's an
New
IPA.
England style Indian pale lager. It's 6.5%.
Wow, that is. It just smells like an IPA. I thought it was just. Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right, we're gonna do a cheers on that one. Wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that is not a lager, man. I'm sorry. That is incredible.
I love the description here. It's a New England style India Pale Lager.
Yes.
That is freaking delicious.
It is. Wow.
It is fermented on a lager strain.
Yeah.
It's a Pilsen malt, but it's 5 times dry hop, so you can taste what that tastes like.
Wow.
It's obviously an experiment. It's obviously a fun thing to do, but I think the beer is
It's-
extreme enough. It speaks for itself.
It's definitely something that should not just be an experiment. It should be a standard line.
Yeah.
So, what's the difference between an experiment and a standard? So, when does something not become an experiment?
Well, everything starts out as an experiment.
Of course.
And then the popularity, if people want more of it, if people crave it, if people ask for seconds,
Yeah.
we can make it into a standard.
Can I have a second can of this?
Wow.
But the point we did a peeling pale with orange peel, and we did a tropical rumple. It's a really tropical fruity IPA, and those were experiments. But people liked them so much that the countries we distribute them in asked for more, so we brewed it again, and now they're part of so you can call it a core range of beers that we do.
Yeah.
Because they are continuously produced and distributed. But this happened not by design,
Yeah.
but by choice.
Demand. And,
Yeah, by demand.
How often does that happen, though?
It changes. We've taken beers out of our core range and replaced them with other beers because they fall and rise in popularity.
How many beers are in your core range?
We try to keep it around 8 to make it feasible.
Yeah.
But it's usually the beers that are most sought after. And sometimes another brewery will put a beer on the market that's the same as our core range, but it's better or people like it more, or it's new and it's fresh, and we'll have to take that off our core range. But we don't choose what we replace it with. People who buy it choose that.
Yeah.
We don't brew a beer with the intention of it being a core range.
Okay. Well, yeah, naturally, but I mean, it's from something becoming experimental into the core range. I mean, what is that process like?
I mean, you obviously don't make a 5 times dry hop lager and hope to make it in the core range, because first of all, it's extremely expensive to
Yeah.
produce. I don't know if we will ever do it again. Like, it's ridiculous. But we have the 3x rate, which is I wish you could taste, but we have no more cans here. Which is a lighter, slightly more juicy version of this that's Korea likes. And so we are brewing it for Korea now and distributing it to other countries as well now. So that's almost part of our core range now, you could say. I forgot your question.
No, it's yeah, you did good. So how do you adapt to the different markets? So Korea likes the 3x raid, but maybe Europe doesn't. And when you look at Europe, do you subdivide it out into different geographies, or is it Europe is it Scandinavia and then it's if it's getting in too much into your secrets or not, I'm just kind of curious as to what is that process like? I mean, how do you see the world when it comes to your distribution and the influences?
Right. I mean, if it's interesting for the folks at home, I'd go through it a little bit.
I mean, because I don't think people really talk about that. Right. I mean, it's part of the marketplace. It's part of how beers develop, and it's how a small craft brewery out of Denmark, approaches the world at large. I mean, what is that process?
That's a good question. I mean, currently we are 2 people doing pretty much all the sales in the 55 countries that we're in. We work with mostly one importer in every country. Some countries have several importers, and it's very hard to divide the countries. Obviously, Finland likes darker beers. Mm-hmm. We can't send fresh IPAs to the US. It wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
There's some limitations as to what we can do, but sometimes people we'll bring out a new beer and we'll try and sell it, and some people really like it, and some countries won't like it. But then you will have to remake it for the countries that really like it, mm-hmm. and then it's usually easier to convince the people that haven't discovered this beer yet that they will like it. It's a really, you have to be very adaptive, and you have to have a lot of things going on at once, and you have to work really closely with your importers and make sure they represent you in the best possible way. And I mean, they all of them do, but it's there's a lot of back and forth, because there's no way I can keep track of how 40 different markets work at the same time. It's not going to happen. I have to trust our importers to do the right thing.
But you brew out of De Proof in Belgium. So would it make sense to replicate the same model for the US or for Asia? I mean...
It would, but it would be different beers. I mean, I wouldn't dare take a De Proof recipe and try and brew it in China and the US. It would not be the same beer. You'd have to do a separate brand. Mikkeller has just done this. They're not called Mikkeller in the US with the beers they brew. There's Mikkeller San Diego. And we did the same for Denmark for brews, because that's a completely different way of brewing beer. We can do things there that we can't do at the proof. We can serve them within 2 hours of being ready. We can make the beers so fresh and so different in taste, because we don't have to export them. They don't travel at all. So we can do all these things, but it's a separate brand. It's not going to be Toll beers. It's Bruce beers.
Yeah.
So what inspired Bruce? Why do Bruce then?
Because it's fun to have a brew pub, and we wanted to do a great brew pub. We made the one mistake of trying to open a shop and a brewery and a high-end restaurant and a brew pub all on the same day.
Yeah, that's intense.
Yes, the first couple of weeks were fairly funny. There's some Benny Hill music going on.
Just some girls in small tops running around with big moves. And,
exactly. On the small street, I remember a story about we told the guys who delivered the brewery equipment, there was like 9 or 10 trucks with all the tanks and all the stuff, to not come at the same time. And they, of course, all arrived at the same time, blocking the entire road, and the police came. And none of them had the license to operate a forklift. Neither did we, but we had kind of the responsibility. So we had a guy from Bruce on the first time on his forklift, pulling it a 2,000 liter tank.
Oh my gosh.
He must have been sweating spinal fluid.
Now, was Bruce the first place in that area, or was it already? Because it seems like I don't know how the area developed, but it's quite a impressive food and cultural area, just kind of hidden away in a.
It is now.
In a section.
I think in the past it was a different area. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the best area. It just become fairly gentrified, I'd say. Best is a really good pizzeria right across the road. I think they kind of started it. We have the cinema there as well. And there are a lot of cool places starting to open up now. And I like it because it's kind of off the main street. and you go there to go there, but there's enough places that you can stay around for the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a little cove kind
Yes,
of,
exactly.
just tucked away from everything else. And there's
Even when there's the stores in the street festival, you
Yeah.
can go to brews and kind of have a quiet time. We don't want to involve the place in that because it's people will piss and drink anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean it's they don't need to go there for that. They'll have plenty of streets to do that. So we keep that as a quiet corner.
Yeah, it's a really, really great location, and it is a little bit off of the beaten path, so to speak.
It is off the beaten
yeah.
path, but I'm hoping I can share this place on a Friday after work because it's it really is something else.
Yeah, no, I've been there a couple of times, and it's just always been an amazing experience.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We have the cinema right on top of Bruce. We actually had to soundproof the ceiling.
Yeah, I bet. Sometimes it's just like,
because you get movie spoilers while enjoying your beer.
yeah, it's like crazy sound reverberating down
Exactly.
to the restaurant. It's like,
Yeah,
I think the dinosaurs are
lightsabers
attacking.
and-
It's,
So you're sitting down there enjoying your beer, and it's like, fuck, I just got the new Star Wars movie.
yeah.
Fucking Solo died. Sorry.
All right, so something we've both been pondering for a while now. Garden of Haze.
Yes.
What's up with that? Because we had Garden of Haze. We both tried it now. It is the clearest hazy beer by name that we've ever tried. So
It's fun, isn't it?
it's different.
This wasn't a great experiment in playing with people's perceptions or anything like that. It simply happened, and the beer didn't get as hazy as we wanted it, and there's not much we can do about that.
Yeah.
yeah.
We've learned from that since. We've brewed a lot of beers, and they're clean and they're consistent. And if you want to do something out of the ordinary, like a hazy beer, we do them every day at the brews, and almost easily there'll be like pineapple juice thick haziness. But when you work with a brewery, as we do, we contract brew at the proof. We have as much control of the process as we do, but we still cannot ultimately completely control the final product.
Yeah.
And we found out the hard way that adding fruit to a beer, even though you use the correct yeast, you add wheat, you use the flocculation, and you want all the sediments to remain in the beer. The fruit you add to the beer will make the yeast eat more of all the good stuff, and it came out as almost the clearest pilsner.
Yeah, I was like, it was a delicious beer, but it was the clearest beer I've ever seen in a long time. It was impressive on its clearness.
and that's where it comes in, like the naming scheme. You can name the beer whatever you want.
Yeah.
If you call it hazy, of course people expect it to be hazy.
Exactly.
And when it's not hazy, you have a hard time defending that. And I think it's a great beer. It tastes good, but it doesn't live up to its name. And there's nothing we can do about that.
Yeah.
We have to just own up to it and tell people to drink it anyway, because it's a good beer. And I don't
It's a
think the
perfectly fine
haziness-
beer.
Yeah, if you blind tested it, you wouldn't notice if it
Exactly.
was hazy or not. It doesn't make it thicker or thinner. But we have to own up to that sometimes.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was a really good beer. We both enjoyed it, but it was just like, wow, it could not be clearer and cleaner looking. If I don't know, it's almost the opposite. It's almost like a joke, like you called it Garden of Haze as a joke. The fact that it was not hazy at all.
Yeah.
We could have done a big spin on this and
Yeah.
be like, we wanted to fuck with the New England style, but no, we had to learn that the hard way.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. But this one, I mean, the 3x rate wasn't really supposed to be hazy because it's a lager, but it turned out hazy because when you dry hop something 5 times,
Well, it's bound to be.
it's bound to be hazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
All right.
I think we should try the Cloudy 9.
All right, now is this a
Sounds good to
take
me.
on the Cloud 9 wit, or
Yes.
all right?
This is we turned the Cloud 9 wit into a series. Because, I mean, we don't do Hefeweizens, obviously. but we do Belgian wits and Belgian ales. And the Cloudland wit is with mango and orange peel, and so is this. But this is made with a new bread strain.
Yeah, you can. It's like as soon as you open the can, it's like, what's that smell?
Yeah. I think this is extremely bready, but the mango makes it juicy as well. And it's actually described as, and I know you hate this word, a farmhouse wheat session IPA.
No, I Adrian, who is a
Adrian.
guest on our show quite often, he has a problem with sessions, but we usually don't.
Well, he has a problem with sessions and Brett, so.
Well, he has problems. Let's just stick with that. We love Adrian.
Now, I know I said cloudy, but I can see you looking through the glass.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at that like, that is not cloudy. That is just a beautiful glass of beer, just in general. And
Smells freaking amazing.
oh, and the taste is just beautiful and light.
I think for a farmhouse, you can drink a few of these before
Oh, easily
starts complaining.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite beers that we brought out this year.
And I don't get, like, the orange and the mango work really well in this, and I have a real problem with orange beers,
Right.
because they tend to be a little kind of artificial flavored quite often, but this just adds a light sweetness to it.
The orange or the mango?
Well, actually both.
You want some more there?
Yes.
We took that to Pound Town. Yeah, I mean, this is a beautiful beer.
Well, the thing is, like Brett beers is kind of my jam.
It is your jam.
All right. Yeah. This is right up my alley.
Yeah.
This is something that I really, really enjoy.
All right, so a couple of years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, you guys came up with some freeze-dried beers where you condense beers into a powder, and you could rehydrate them and make them into beers again, or non-alcoholic beers, I guess. What's that? What's happening with that?
Beers. I actually don't know. This was before my time, to be honest. I don't really know
All right,
much about them.
Fair enough. I was just curious as to where we are in that process.
I'm actually curious now as well.
Yeah, because it was like really big news like 3 or 4 years ago. We're like, oh, Tool's doing freeze-dried beers. You just add water and you get beer again. And I was just like, all right, so where are we now in the science of freeze-dried beers?
I don't think it's getting... I don't think that's
it's not a happening thing. That's fair enough. All right, so Bruce started 3 years ago? 2 years ago?
We started doing MBCC almost 3 years ago.
Okay.
We have our 3-year birthday on the next MBCC, which makes it quite a hectic weekend because it's one of the biggest beer festivals in the world, and it's our birthday.
Wow.
So
what can we expect from Bruce that weekend? Well, why do we make the pilgrimage from MBCC over to Bruce?
Well, because everyone from Tool are pretty much contractually obliged to come out at
Perfect.
MBCC and be at Bruce that week. We'll hand out free beers. It's hopefully nice weather in summer, and there's going to be so many people. It's going to be either a lot of fun if you like that, or a hellish nightmare if you don't like Balkan gypsy music.
Who doesn't? Crazy people.
It's usually a great time. I want to, if you have time, give you a little insight into how our process works.
Yeah.
Like how far ahead we plan, because I know that in Sweden you get only the tip of the icebergs of the beers that we actually produce.
Yes.
So I want to show you guys what we have released the last 2 months.
Perfect.
And what we are going to release.
Because you guys are doing a ton of stuff. I mean, it's hard to keep up with everything that you guys are doing.
Last year we did, I think, 57 or 67 unique recipes.
Holy
we
crap.
obviously brewed our normal beers as well on top of that. But I want to give you guys a little insight into how this works.
Yes.
Perfect.
So, I got for the folks at home, I brought my laptop, so there'll be the labels for the new beers here.
Well, if we can take pictures of your laptop, then we can put that on the Instagram flow later.
Yes.
Yeah, just my password is on a sticky note on the screen. So
excellent.
Cut that out.
Perfect GDPR security stuff.
So we just released the Bead Ipa Citra Simcoe, which is part of the Shock series, as you know. It's a black IPA with coffee and citra hops. And the label is ready, and the beer is out. Then we have, we have another Cloud9 spin-off, the Cloud9 Mango Mayhem, where we basically added as much mango as we legally were allowed to.
Wait, is there an illegal amount of mango you can add?
If there is, we are not gonna cross that line.
Okay.
Then we have Fuck Art. This is Cestapeel, which is probably one of my most favorite labels so far this year, because it just looks like a madman's 3D scratchbook.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what Casper thought here, but it's.
And the fuck art are all Belgian style.
The Fuck Art are all Belgian style. Yeah. In one way or the other, usually with zest or new bread or with some kind of fruit. Then we have the Hazy DC and the Hazy TC, which is short for Hazy Double Citra and Hazy Triple Citra.
Yeah, I love these labels in particular. I love the blurred metallic imprints. I really like glom onto those.
Thank you. This one looks like it's 2 beers on a round can, because if you turn it around, it's fairly confusing. But the beer name is too good to kind of to pass up the chance of calling another beer hazy. These are actually really hazy, and double and triple dry hopped. Then we have the Null, which is 0 IBU IPA. I don't know if you've ever tried one of those before. Yeah, 6.9%. You basically you don't.
Just add hops late in the process.
Yes, you just dry hop it.
Yeah,
basically. But it's
that is something that I would be really interested in trying.
Yeah, we kept the label really minimal.
I love the label. It is crazy, like interesting, but yet minimal at the same time. Very Scandinavian.
It's gonna look great. We have the Sipa Simcoe and Simcoe, which is your favorite session IPA, double hop with Simcoe, because I think it's an underlooked hop, and we wanna bring it forth, and we want to bring it forth again.
Yeah.
Then we have the oh my god, the Sewer Double Dry Hop Citra.
Definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah. We have had so much good feedback from the Sewer series.
Yeah.
But people have always been like, I wish this was more hoppy, or it would be fun to try this if it was more hoppy. And we kind of we like the Sewer series, but we thought as well it would be fun to see what happens if you just hop the fuck out of this beer.
Yeah,
I think
because the Motueka,
exactly.
Oh yeah,
the sour Motueka was
crazy good.
Fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And the sour Citra and the sour I think it's been the sour Simcoe as well. Mm-hmm. The sour Mosaic. I mean, all of them have been absolutely freaking amazing.
Did you ever try the Sewer Galaxy?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
God, I'll see if I can get one on Bruce. That's a mind fuck, that beer.
All right.
Yeah.
It's a sour mash black IPA.
Ooh, wow.
And it looks like a stout and kind of tastes or smells like a red wine, and then it's just a sour mashed kick in your face.
Wow.
Just the Turbid Totems coming out soon. It's the low ABV 2.9 farmhouse American Pale Ale.
That's something that you guys don't really, I think, promote that much, is your low ABV beers, because you guys do amazing low ABV beers. I mean, it's like, I say low ABV, it's what, 4.2 and under.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you guys, when we did the calendar 2 years ago, Christmas calendar 2 years ago, I think some of our favorite beers were like 2.7, ABV beers. Everyone's like, wow, I'm completely surprised that this ended up in our, best of the calendar list. It was,
people like that in Sweden a lot, don't they?
Yeah, well, I mean,
because you can drink a freaking excellent beer and not get totally hammered, and you can still drive a car after that.
Yeah, and then it's really the thing. I think in Scandinavia and listening and talking to my friends in the U.S., it's a market that is just ripe for development, because people want to go out, they want to be social, they want to go to a party, they want to be able to drink a beer, and then be able to drive home and not have to rely on Uber or a taxi or Lyft or whatever. And it's just one of those things that, if you can deliver that into a marketplace that's just starving for that, and talking with my friends in the U.S., it's coming. I mean, it's a phase that's just starting to begin. And I took a photo of the one wall we have as a Stumbellaget, which is just 0 alcohol beers.
Oh, really? You have
And it's
a
just
whole
like
wall of those?
It's like stouts and Berliner Weiss and ambers and IPAs and like just lagers and all these different types of beers that are just 0 alcohol or 0.5%. I think
How
it's
do
the
they
lowest we
taste?
get. For the most part, there's some really, really good ones.
Nice.
The stout that we had was just like a really nice milk stout. And then McKellar does an amber ale, and the Berliner Weiss is incredible. I mean,
I gotta argue with you on the amber ale.
the amber ale's good.
No, the amber ale is quite terrible. The Drinking in the Sun
Is
good.
is really good.
The Berliner Weiss is good, but the amber ale I do not like at all.
Okay, well, that's fine. You can have that opinion.
I am excited to try it.
Moving on.
Really excited about that one.
This is the vanilla milk. The vanilla milk. It's a lactose imperial vanilla milk stout, which we try to showcase how difficult it is to put vanilla in a beer and make it taste like vanilla. Then we have the Dangerously Close to Stupid New England.
Is it gonna be
Dangerously
hazy?
Close to New England. It is very hazy, yes.
You're getting photos.
But
there are so many.
He has one job. This is it. This is all we pay him for.
I'm
And he's horrible at that.
terrible
so.
at my one job.
I'm just gonna go through this quickly. I just want to give you guys an idea of how much we actually do here, and how, unfortunately, how little you guys get to taste unless you
I know.
go out of your way to get it. We have the Easter Bunny, which is our Easter-inspired beer.
Yeah.
Very bready farmhouse IPA.
Ooh.
Next up is 1 ton of raspberries.
Yeah, I love that that photo. I think I've seen that online, and
It's gonna come out
it's just
soon.
a beautiful photo.
Yeah. Welcome to Flu.
Oh,
It's coming
yeah.
back. And we have Fuck Art. This is Hygge.
that is so not Hygge.
No.
It's amazing. You got to get a photo of that one.
It's gonna be a rye saison with potato and rhubarb, and then we
Potato and rhubarb?
Yeah, it's two very Danish ingredients.
Yeah, it sounds very Danish.
And then we matured it with oak chips, and we have the bourbon milk. It's gonna be a imperial milk stout matured with bourbon chips.
I'm just gonna want that.
Black Maria's coming back, our black imperial IPA.
Yeah.
Then we have one of my new favorites I'm looking forward to is the Gose to Dim Sum Restaurant orders one of each, which is going to be the Ghost to Hollywood spin-off. It's a 4.5% Gose with dragon fruit, lychee, and soya instead of the usual Gose salt.
It's got soy.
Yeah, it's got
Yeah.
soy. So I'm really looking forward to
I'm
this.
looking forward to that too.
Me too.
Holy crap.
And then we have the Thirsty Frontier, which is our
Yeah.
really baseline solid IPA, and we're gonna triple dry hop it with we're gonna do 3 iterations: Citra, Mosaic, and Simcoe, because it needs some more. We want some more juiciness.
Yeah.
The old pale ales are going out of style.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully not for too long. I hope the hazy IPA stops. At some
I
point.
think it will. I'd be surprised if in 2
It's
years it's
just a matter of
still,
time.
It's still a thing. I mean, it'll still be around, but I think that, because you were talking about this earlier, it seems like people are gravitating back towards more traditional styles and moving away from like the trendy adjunct, beholden beers.
Hopefully, because if it keeps going, I mean, who knows what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
You're gonna drink the boil and get yeast thrown into your mouth, and then have your nostrils dry up. It's not gonna be pleasant. Should we try the last beer we have on display?
Yes.
Yeah, actually,
Yes.
I was going to get to back around to that, which is the.
We got to pour this one.
and then
It's the
talk about-
Graf Gadians. We did this with. We went to Estonia in January to brew with Pojala, and for anyone wondering why you'd go to Estonia in January, I have no good answer. It is miserably cold. But they have a very lovely brewery there, and we brewed 2 beers with them.
Yeah.
The Graf Gradient and the 10 Apple Stout. The 10 Apple Stout is currently aging on applewood smoke barrels.
Ooh.
And this one is a 5.8% Gose, brewed with spontaneously fermented Estonian cider that we actually used in the mash. So it's kind of a half beer, half cider. We used a lot of honey and thyme. And this beer is... We like to go to Estonia and we like to brew with Pojala because we can make whatever we want, and whenever they want, it usually becomes a beer for ourselves more than for anyone else. With that said, I wish people will have it and enjoy it because they're extremely interesting, I think.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great light beer with a little bit of a honey aftertaste to it. You get the honey kind of comes through.
Do you want to say a little bit of honey? I would say this is a lot of honey.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't find that, because for me, honey is usually pretty cloying. It's like kind of too much. But I find it just a little light honey flavor at the end. Kind of a blossomy, flowery kind of aftertaste to it.
I don't want to call honey cloying at all. I would probably say that there's a honey taste to it straight away.
Yeah.
But it also lingers in the aftertaste, but it's in a really pleasant way.
Yeah, I mean, you get the apple right up front.
Yeah.
Which, for me, like we were talking about this the other day, I was like, why aren't there more beers with apple in them? And you're like, well, usually green apple's an off flavor in beer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's a shame, because I think apple and beer just seems like a natural combination. And I think this beer just gets it.
Yeah.
I should have probably mentioned this earlier, but there's a bit of coriander seeds in this as well.
I'm sorry, this beer is garbage. We have to pour this now.
As long as there's no cardamom in it.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I forgot it was cardamom. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Jens, thank you for joining us today. Any
you for coming.
parting words you want to share with us? Anything we haven't covered?
No, not really. We'll get back to the toothpaste someday.
Oh, yeah.
That's the next podcast.
Yeah.
We'll get back into the toothpaste. Yeah, so thank you again for having us in, and we've really enjoyed talking with you about all these amazing, great beers. And you guys are just doing incredible stuff. Thank you.
We try. Thank you.
Yeah. So you can find us.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. And you can find us online at
Every single place you can find a good podcast.
Yes.
Which is basically Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, iTunes, and our website, whatsonthappodcast.com.
exactly. All right. So until next time, guys, keep drinking.